Welcome back to another review with YallaMotor. Today we're going to be checking out the IS 350 2021, and this is the F Sport package. Yalla, let's have a look at it. The Lexus IS 350 is the smallest sedan within the Lexus family. This is competition to the Mercedes C-Class, the BMW 3 Series, and a few others. Now this model, the 2021, looks absolutely stunning. It is such a stunner. But before we talk about those exteriors and how awesome this looks, let's take it for a spin and figure how it drives. Cool, so let's take it for a spin. Now, it does have electrically adjustable seats, brings you back in position with the setting of the last driver, has a great welcoming graphic, push to start like you already saw. Cool. Now, reverse cameras do exist, although I wish it had a 360 view. It's just your rear view, so I still trust my mirrors more than the camera with every car I drive. Do you guys use reverse cameras too much? Let us know in the comments. I'd like to know. Now, the first thing I'd like to mention, this car is fun, but it's not extra fun. You know, because sports sedan always have that fun element to it, and I feel there's just a wee bit missing on this car. So I do have an open stretch so I can show you a little. I'm rolling at 10 kilometers per hour. I push it a bit. Do you hear that? Sounds like a whine. So I'm not sure how come, because this is a 3.5 liter V6. That sounds a lot like a supercharger, which doesn't exist in this car. While we're talking about numbers, it has 311 horsepower, and it's definitely fun to drive, but it feels a little heavy. Now, what I mean by that is that the steering, for starters, is really heavy, so when you want to smoothly maneuver, it takes a bit more effort. And that's something I would prefer, which would be a little smoother in that regard. Other than that, I think, sure, it's a fun drive, but like I mentioned, extra fun is missing a little bit. Let's talk about some safety features while I stop on the side. Before I do talk about the interiors, let me mention a couple of safety features that the car is equipped with. It has lane departure warnings, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, forward collision warning, adaptive cruise control. Is this adaptive? I believe it is. And yes, it does have a bunch of safety features, the basics that is required to keep you good and safe. So let's talk interiors. As soon as you get into the car, it's all red, it looks great, the seats hug you well, nice and sporty, the steering is great and sporty as well. But you know what's disappointing? Is that this has been carried forward for 7 years. The interiors we're looking at has been carried forward since 2014, and we're in 2021, so this is so yesterday. It is not futuristic, it is not living in the present, so that's something that I really wish Lexus did differently. Now that we've spoken about everything on the front, talking about the rear, mostly small sedans, it's not really recommended to put too many passengers into the rear seat. In this case, it would be extremely difficult because I've really pushed my seat forward for me to get a decent amount of legroom, or else my knees would be piercing this seat like it is over here. And space is obviously an issue. You do have a bit of an armrest that could be used here, cup holders as well, and you do have air vents, but the transmission tunnel really puts this hump high up here, so no one can be seated here in the center, so you kind of rather always have this placed down. So yep, space is an issue here in the rear seats. Let's have a look at our steering wheel. So like I mentioned, it is pretty heavy, but let's have a look at these buttons. They are so outdated. If you were to compare the steering to its competition, the competition is way ahead, and the IS is really far behind on that racetrack. So it's pretty upsetting, like I mentioned, but something that I'm glad that they still have and have carried forward is the moving instrument cluster. So when I press this button here, the entire gauge moves to the right and comes back in place once we're done with setting our function. So that has always been a cool factor about Lexus, and I'm glad they've stayed true to that and still kept it. Got our cruise control option here, have an F Sport badge here on the steering wheel. Looking at what's here on the center, now, like I mentioned, not a lot has changed. Things are so old that we still have a CD player port. Do we still use CDs in 2021? I highly doubt it, but still exists because, we're carrying things forward. Something I really like is that the temperature can be set with these sliders here. So all I need to do is slide my fingers through and the temperature is adjusted. Quality is great all in all. It's really strong all over. So that is something which is fabulous, but what's that lacking factor already. What else has changed is that this screen is now a touch screen. Yay! Okay, so before we could only use the trackpad to maneuver and navigate around, and that was always a bit of a challenge, I'd say, because it works like a cursor and it was hard to navigate. I'm not gonna lie about that. So I'm really glad that they've made the screen a touch screen. It is a 10.3-inch touch. What else has changed? Nothing really. Seats have ventilation, so you got that option right here. The gear shifter stays the same. We got drive modes to be adjusted here. Menu for the screen there, cup holders, and a little bit of a storage compartment. So that's about it with what we're looking at on the inside. Ooh, and while I'm at it, let me mention the car does have a moonroof. So, yep, that's all about the interiors. I am super excited to discuss exteriors with the IS 350. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that large black grille. Imagine if this was a chrome grille. Would it look good? Absolutely not. So Lexus really thought it through and put in a D-chrome grille, which I adore. Now let's think about how its competition looks versus this. This definitely takes away brownie points for the looks because it is aesthetically pleasing and super sporty. It has that black lip at the bottom, sporty bumper, functional air vents that all in all just looks gorgeous, sporty, stunning, you name it. Those adjectives definitely work with the IS 350 F Sport package. Now, looking at the new eyes that it has, previously it had its LED strip at the bottom. This time it's on top with a 3-eye LED headlamp. It's got 3 little bulbs there. Moving over to the side, we're looking at 19-inch alloys, and this is a standard with this package. It is the F Sport Platinum package, so these wheels are a standard on it. It does have that little F Sport badge here, and this F Sport badge is kind of duplicated right over here with this metal strip in the side view mirror. So this F, and right here, you'll see it. Little details matter. This is how they do it. Let's take a look at what it looks like at the back. Now, if you thought the front looked stunning, check out this rear. Way more stunning, and I'm going to give that an absolute 10 on 10. What's different with the old IS and the new IS is that these new brake lights, they run from end to end, and when it's lit up, it looks gorgeous. What's also different is that previously the brake lights were diagonal towards the bottom. Now it moves straight to the side. This package, being the F Sport Platinum, again comes with these little details such as the black spoiler here, diffusers on the bottom. Coming to the price of this car, this specific car costs 245,000 dirhams, inclusive of tax here in the UAE. Now, summing it up, I adore the exterior, but I'm not so happy with what it looks like on the inside. It's a 2021 on the outside, but a 2014 on the inside. What do you think about the car, the exterior, the interiors, the price point? Let us know in the comments as always. Thank you so much for watching and see you on the next review.